Welcome. This is the SDSFIE Use and Governance webinar, a resource for SDSFIE training. This training resource is designed for all types of SDSFIE users. There is one recommended prerequisite for this webinar, that is to watch the SDSFIE Program Overview webinar, which is accessible from the support section of the SDSFIE portal at the URL shown. The overall goal for our training resources is that all SDSFIE users understand the purpose, structure, and parts of the SDSFIE family of standards or standards framework. The specific objectives for this presentation are that the audience gains an understanding of the SDSFIE basics, including the definition of SDSFIE and its purpose, and the members of the SDSFIE family of standards, the DoD Instruction Installation Geospatial Information and Services, or IGINS, which includes our mandate to implement, govern, and support SDSFIE, the IGINS Governance Group, or IG, established by the DoD, and the operations of the IG as defined in the SDSFIE Governance Plan, or SGP, the Change Management Process, or CMP, that is defined in the SGP and that is facilitated through the Automated Process Portal application, the actions that the IG has taken on the family of standards, and the SDSFIE portal, which provides access to the documentation, tools, and training materials required to effectively implement SDSFIE. SDSFIE is an acronym for Spatial Data Standards for Facilities, Infrastructure, and Environment. The FIE thus represents the different types of data in the installation, range, and training space that our standards encompass. The definition of SDSFIE provides both its structure, a framework for a family of standards governed by the Installation Geospatial Information and Services Governance Group, or IG, supported with online tools, technical support, and training, and its purpose, meeting the DoD goal of making installation and civil works geospatial data and services visible, accessible, understandable, linked, trusted, interoperable, and secure, or VALTIS, across the DoD. In the last decade, SDSFIE has evolved in a number of ways. This includes expanding from the single vector standard to a family of standards, with the additions of the now mature quality, metadata, and raster standards, and the emerging portrayal and endorsed standards. The 3 decades of SDSFIE governance can be summarized in the following key events. In 1993, the SDSFIE Vector Data Content Standard was created as the Tri-Service Spatial Data Standards GIS data model. Oversight of the TSSDS was provided by the Tri-Service Executive Steering Group, comprised of the Air Force, Army, and the Navy, with rotating responsibilities for management of the standard. In 2004, the Defense Installation Spatial Data Infrastructure, or DISD program, was created within the Office of the Assistant Secretary of Defense for sustainment. DISD is responsible for coordinating, standardizing, and leveraging geospatial information and analytics across DoD's global business mission areas, while the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, NGA, is broadly responsible for providing worldwide geospatial information and services, or GINS, to DoD's warfighter and intelligence mission areas. The DISD program focuses on governing the use of GINS for installations, or IGINS. During the 2006 to 2007 timeframe, the Real Property and Installations Lifecycle Management Domain Governance Board considered several options for formally establishing a DISD group, or DISDIG, which would provide governance for what was now being called SDSFIE. On the 21st of March in 2007, the DISD group was established by a memorandum from the Deputy Undersecretary of Defense for Installations and Environment, or I&E. The DISDIG included governance participation from all 4 armed services, the Army Corps of Engineers, Washington Headquarters Service, and the DoD itself in the form of a DISDIG chair who was appointed by the I&E Undersecretary. In 2015, the DoD changed the name of the DISDIG to the IGINS Governance Group, or IG, which remains in operation today. It maintained the breadth of governance participation and changed specification of the chair to the IGINS Geospatial Information Officer in the DISD office. The DoD, first published in 2015, defines IGINS as a subset of GINS. This DoD instruction mandates the use and management of the SDSFIE family of standards by the DoD service components by establishing policy, providing governance procedures, and assigning roles and responsibilities to the components and other SDSFIE stakeholders. This includes a support role for the Department of Army. One important aspect of the governance instructions was to give management responsibilities to the IGINS Governance Group, or IG, with representation from the Air Force, Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Washington Headquarters Service, and the Army Corps of Engineers. The IG is chaired by the Geospatial Information Officer, or GIO, for the Assistant Secretary of Defense for Energy Installations and Environment, who oversees the Defense Installations Spatial Data Infrastructure, or DISD program. The DISD program plays a central role in implementing the policies set forth in the DoD. The first webinar in this SDSFIE training series, entitled Program Overview, contains more details about the DoD. The scope of the IG's governance responsibilities includes operating by consensus as the managing collaborative body for IGINS standards, building agreement on standards and procedures for the IGINS business area, recommending additions or changes to IGINS standards, which includes both the management of the SDSFIE family of standards and the endorsement of external standards, and coordinating with DoD and among components to facilitate the implementation of IGINS standards within the components' enterprises. Specifically, the activities of the IG members include creating the SDSFIE Governance Plan, or SGP, and updating it as necessary. The SGP defines formal processes, for example, the change management processes, or CMP, that can be applied to documents, tools, and the standards themselves. The IG implements the CMP and conducts its business according to it, including the creation of new standards and revisions to standards, new tools and revisions to tools, and the same for all documentation and training materials that support SDSFIE implementation. The IG reviews and votes on all standards through the processes defined in the CMP and through the applications made available in the SDSFIE portal, which we will look at near the end of the presentation. The IG gives authority to working groups to manage aspects of its business, for example, the Portfolio Working Group, each of the standards, for example, the SDSFIE Vector or V Working Group, and the website and tools by the SDSFIE Portal Working Group. The SDSFIE V Working Group requires additional subgroups for its data model harmonization activities. At present, these include working groups for the Sustainment Management Systems for Utilities, or USMS, and the Real Property Classification System, or RPCS. The SDSFIE Governance Plan lays out roles, responsibilities, and objectives guiding the development and use of the SDSFIE family of standards. It establishes and defines each of the 6 members of the SDSFIE family of standards. For each of its functions, be it reviewing and approving a new standard or implementation guidance document, the IG follows a formal business process that is specified in the SGP. Oftentimes, the particular business process specified in the governance plan requires many steps that involve the IG and entities within the SDSFIE community, each having different roles within that process. The SGP defines which organizational elements are involved in each process, what steps are involved, the rules governing the process, and the responsibilities for each step. An example of this type of complex business process is the SDSFIE's Change Management Process, or CMP. There are 3 typical types of changes for which the IG follows the formal CMP. First, for changes to standards, such as revisions to standards documentation. Second, for changes to the data models of the standards. Typically, this would be the gold version of the vector data model that is shared by all components, but this could also be the data model of a metadata standard. And third, for changes to the portal's set of web pages and tools. One or more changes travel together through the CMP steps in a container or envelope called a change request, or CR. While components can create and internally manage draft CRs, the IG gets involved when a formal CR is submitted into the queue, indicated as the red envelope on the left end of the image at the bottom. The SDSFIE governance plan contains detailed sub-processes for each of the 7 steps, with actors consisting of the CR proponent, often the DoD component, DISD program staff, the support contractor, the working group involved with the particular type of change, the IG chair, and the IG itself. with the IG's component representatives casting ballots in Step 6 of the CMP, labeled IG Vote. Once the CR passes an IG vote, the changes get implemented in the next available version of the data model, standard, document, tool, or website component. The Automated Process Portal, or APP, manages all aspects of the CMP, including the different parts of the business process. This includes the approved actors or entities participating in each of the 7 steps shown in the image, the inputs, particular actors involved, actions, and outputs associated with each step, and decision points and links between steps. The APP system includes and provides management tools for a database with several data tables requisite for running the CMP. There is a table with all of the draft and formal CRs, and a table with all of the individual changes. As of the date this webinar was created, the CRs totaled just under 1,000, and the changes just over 2,000. Thus, on average, each CR envelope contains about 2 changes. In order to manage the participants, there is a data table with organizations, a table with people that belong to organizations, and a table containing groups with linked participants, designating roles and particular people that fill those roles. The APP is important because it facilitates component participation and records the lineage of participant actions and decisions, thus ensuring transparency for the SDSFIE program. As previously mentioned, one of the last steps in the change management process is all members of the IG vote on each change request. By far, the majority of the CRs proposed are to make changes to the GOLD vector model. These proposed alterations of the GOLD model could emanate from new or changes to existing DoD-level policies or data standards, new or changes to existing component-level requirements, or general model improvements or corrections. However, the IG must also consider proposed changes to Quality Standards and Data Content Standards, or DCS, the SDSFIE M standard, SDSFIE portal functionality, and other SDSFIE standards, guidance, and specifications. Additionally, the IG reviews and approves each component-level HQ adaptation and all component implementation plans. The IG does not govern any component sub-adaptation of their main headquarters adaptation, so long as A, it does not require any changes to the GOLD vector data model, and B, it follows the set of rules found in the SDSFIE V implementation guidance, or SFIG document. As stated, one of the IG's important roles is to review and approve new and updated standards and implementation guidance for the standards. This is a list of their key approval actions for those documents, specifications, and models. Version 4.0 of the Vector Standard, SDSFIE V, was approved by the IG on the 17th of February 2016. Approximately 1 year later, the Assistant Secretary of Defense for Energy Installations and Environment issued a memorandum to the component's Principal Deputy Assistant Secretaries and Directors, with the cover letter shown in the lower right, that mandates the implementation of the SDSFIE V 4.0 data model. The IG reviewed and approved each component's headquarters implementation of Vector 4.0, starting with the Corps of Engineers 4.0.1 adaptation in March 2018, and most recently with Marine Corps' 4.0.5 adaptation in July of 2021. The most recent version of the SFIG was approved at the end of 2021, with the IG currently reviewing a new SFIG version that will support an updated 5.0 data model. For SDSFIE R, the IG approved both parts of that standard in May of 2017. Version 2 of raster standards are currently under development, with the IG review starting in summer 2023. SDSFIE metadata standards are in the second version, with September 2018 and October 2019 IG approval dates for the M conceptual schema and implementation specification and the M implementation guidance, respectively. The IG approved Revision 2 of the SDSFIE Q standard in March 2020, with Revision 3 under review as of summer 2023. The Quality Working Group individually reviews Feature Type Specific Data Content Specification, or DCS, which now number 82, and then recommends each DCS for IG confirmation. The first set of these received IG approval in June 2018, and the last in May of 2023. The first set of endorsed, or SDSFIE E standards, is expected to be considered by the IG in late 2023. The IG reviews implementation plans for all SDSFIE mandates, including for vector, metadata, and quality. The components have the flexibility to address these plans in a way that meets their component overall data strategies and other enterprise planning documents. All of these IG activities require coordination. One of DISD's support functions is to create and regularly maintain the IG 5-year plan for SDSFIE development and component implementation. Looking at this historical plan from the fall of 2019, we can see that each of the 4 armed services and Army Corps of Engineers has, per the 2017 SDSFIE V Gold 4.0 mandate, created a headquarters-level adaptation, an implementation plan for their HQ model, and have migrated their holdings of each of their authoritative data sources, or ADS, to that new model. For example, the blue bars labeled A, B, and C represent the schedule for the Air Force's implementation process. The gold bar represents an ongoing task by the IG, and its designated working groups continue to facilitate the component's completion of SDSFIE M-compliant metadata for their KIP data submissions. The bottom green taskbar indicates the ongoing development of the DCSs for the non-KIP data. After the 5.0 model is published, DoD will issue another SDSFIE V Gold mandate, and components will schedule a second round of adaptations, implementation plans, and migration activities, updating this 5-year plan accordingly. The SDSFIE portal contains a set of resources that include web pages that provide background, governance, standard-specific information, and component-specific content, access to the Automated Process Portal, or APP, which is the online system that facilitates the change management process, or CMP, access to support resources, such as recorded webinars, training videos, and user manuals, access to the suite of SDSFIE tools, most of which focus on the implementation of data models that are compliant to the vector standard, and in some cases the metadata standard. These web browser-based applications include the following. Model Viewer enables users to browse and search single or multiple models for key terms and/or phrases, and to optionally generate logical and physical representations of a model. Model Builder enables users to create a new model as an adaptation of an existing parent model. Model Comparator enables users to compare 2 logical models, a parent and an adaptation of that parent, and fully describes their similarities and differences at an elemental level. Model Validator verifies a model as an adaptation of a parent model using a rule set defined in the SDSFIE Vector Implementation Guidance, and provides a spreadsheet output listing all non-compliance findings. Data Migrator is an ArcGIS-based toolset supporting the migration of data from one adaptation of SDSFIE-V to another version of the same adaptation. ArcGIS Tools is a set of 3 downloadable tools that run in the Esri ArcGIS environment. The Geodatabase Creator, the Logical Data Model Creator, and the Geodatabase Comparator. This concludes the SDSFIE Use and Governance training for high-level users. If you want to learn more about SDSFIE, including the vector standard, visit our training resources page at the URL listed here. Note that the What is SDSFIE V video is a highly condensed version of the Understanding the Vector V standard presentation. Thank you for your interest in the SDSFIE program.